Today, we have fantastic news on one of our most anticipated games of 2026, some fan favorites, and some new wishlist material. After 6 months of waiting impatiently, we finally have news about Sea of Remnants, one of the games that we are most excited about for this year. We got to try it ourselves last year and absolutely fell in love with it. And now, very soon, you might be able to do just that yourselves. But before we share the details, let us quickly recap what Sea of Remnants is all about, in case you haven't seen our videos about it yet. It is an ocean fantasy open-world RPG developed by Joker Studio, the super creative people behind Identity V, which explains the unique art style. We play as puppet folk sailors on a journey to reclaim our lost memories while we sail the open seas, recruit more than 300 new crew members, and shape the world and the fates and reactions of its residents with our decisions. It has turn-based combat and ocean combat action similar to Sea of Thieves, where you sail the ship and control the cannons. The newest trailer was filled with new scenes, and we spotted exciting things like dungeons with jumping puzzles, new mini-games, island biomes, and various interesting new enemies like the skeleton ghost bride. They also showed a glimpse of a small island called Homestead, which, if this would be just the housing system we are thinking it might be, would be a new absolute highlight for us. Hopefully, we will find out more about it very soon. Because, as I teased at the beginning, you and us could definitely be playing Sea of Remnants very soon, because the second closed alpha playtest is starting on February 5th on PC. And you can sign up now on the official Discord. And if you don't make it into the test, don't be sad, because Sea of Remnants is planned to release this year as a free-to-play title on PS5 and Steam. Have I mentioned that I am very excited for this game? If you haven't played The Elder Scrolls Online lately, let us make a guess as why you didn't. You either absolutely hate how clunky the combat feels, or you didn't want to keep paying for ESO+, but found the game borderline unplayable without it. For us, it was a bit of both actually, and we stopped playing around 2 years ago. Fast forward, and ZeniMax just revealed their future plans that completely revamped the game and solve none of these issues. But let's have a look. They announced their brand new season system, which replaces ESO's old model of yearly expansion releases. So starting this March, instead of paying for big chapters and DLC packs, all new content will be free for anyone who owns the base game. On top of that, older, once premium DLCs like Dark Brotherhood or Ossinium are being put into the base game as well. So more free content for all. Seasons run for about 3 months and have special themes, kicking off with Season 0, Dawn and Dusk, launching on April 2nd. It brings a limited-time group PvE zone called the Night Market, some reworks for Dragon Knight and Werewolves, and a new PvP progression system. Future seasons tease new raids, world events, solo dungeons, and naval combat for later this year. Sounds great, right? Almost. Because Bethesda as a publisher obviously needs to make money, which means that the ESO subscription is bound to stay, with added perks to compensate for previously unlocking DLC content. And if you have developed a serious aversion against battle passes, you need to be very strong now, because with Tamriel Tomes, they are bringing just that. It will have 3 tiers, 1 free and 2 paid ones for $15 and $30 respectively. And while this isn't exactly what we asked for, they at least do not expire and allegedly grant generous rewards, even on the free track. Unfortunately, still no real combat reworks yet, but some quality of life upgrades, including free respecs, faster mount training, and better housing tools. We are not sure if this is great or not, but let us know what you think about this change. Core Keeper is getting its next big free update, and it's called Void and Voltage, which already tells you roughly what to expect. It's getting a lot more dangerous, mechanical, and, of course, purple. We played Core Keeper a while back when it launched, and although we had lots of fun, we agreed that the new content thinned out rather quickly once you are past the first few stages, especially considering crafting and automation. So we are quite excited about this update that not only adds a whole new robot and tech-inspired biome and smaller void-themed sub-biomes, but also continues the crafting, gearing, and most importantly, the automation part of the game. But first things first. The new biome will feature different mechanical and inorganic life forms that drop and require new gear that helps you stand against an environment that your average electrician would consider a severe safety hazard. The void sub-biomes, however, can occur everywhere, turning classic surroundings and enemies into much more challenging and rewarding variants. On the base building side, there are new machines that automatically harvest crops, process seeds, recycle junk, and even catch small creatures for farming. So maybe I can finally join Nox on our next exploration run too, instead of tending to the crops. I bet that will be even more necessary as enemies now also come in swarms. Good thing that there are flamethrowers now. And if you like tinkering even outside the game, there will be mod support available when the update launches on January 28th, including a debut on the Nintendo Switch too. If you would love to play a game like Surrounded, but in co-op, we've got something very promising for you. Never Be Alone is an upcoming zombie survival game that puts you into a world long after the zombie outbreak. Similar to Surrounded, it blends low poly aesthetics with a gritty survival horror atmosphere akin to The Last of Us. Man-made structures have long been reclaimed by nature, and everything is a lot more quiet than before. Just like going on a walk after New Year's Eve, shortly before all the New Year, New Me joggers show up. And although the world is more desolate, it's not more welcoming, with day and night cycles, dynamic weather, and even seasons that can turn a simple supply run into a serious problem. And of course, no zombie apocalypse without the undead longing for your brains, and the living longing for your loot. At its core, it's about scavenging, crafting, and slowly turning abandoned buildings into something you can actually live in. And since you need to manage hunger, thirst, and temperature, you also get to grow food, hunt, fish, and craft to keep you alive. And as we already teased, there is co-op, with seamless host-based multiplayer supporting up to 8 players. Building bases, running supply routes, vehicles, power systems, and farming are all built to work with multiple people. The game is purely PvE based, so at least the dangers boil down to only NPC bandits and zombies, environmental hazards, and bad planning on your part. Never Be Alone is aiming for an early access release later this year, and if you like the idea of surviving an overgrown apocalypse together, put this on your apocalypse survival list. Monster Mercs is an upcoming action RPG with a twist. Whatever monster you defeat, you can turn into. Every enemy lets you steal its abilities, spells, and even its fighting style. Your power comes from mixing gear with these monster forms and seeing which combinations work best. Missions take place in a mix of hand-built areas and procedurally generated dungeons, sending you out to clear infestations, hunt bosses, or escort valuable cargo through places where you probably shouldn't be. Back at your hub, you upgrade weapons, armor, and stats. Then head out again to see how your latest build holds up this time. The game offers co-op for up to 4 players, jumping into the same contracts. And while enemies scale up when more people join, we can't guarantee the same for your power level, depending on whom you are playing with. So if the idea of turning your enemies into your next loadout sounds appealing, this might be one to keep an eye on. Nested Lands is a survival game that really doesn't want you to feel comfortable. You are thrown into a plague-ravaged medieval world where you try to build a functioning settlement. So you go around recruiting desperate survivors and hope your little village doesn't collapse under hunger, disease, or bad leadership. But the plague isn't just a story setting here, but one of the core mechanics. It spreads in stages, weakens people, and can spiral out of control if you ignore it. Like an inverted third-person Plague Inc. on a much smaller scale. And if the plague wasn't enough, the world also throws bandits, harsh winters, and random disasters at you. So simply keeping everyone fed and alive already feels like an achievement. Quests and exploration unlock new buildings, professions, and bits of the world's dark history, while you slowly turn your camp into either a feared stronghold or a fragile refugee camp one bad decision away from disaster. Up to 4 players can share one settlement, splitting tasks like scouting, crafting, building, or defending, which sounds helpful, until someone forgets to feed the villagers again. Nested Lands is heading into early access on January 23rd and is planned to stay there for approximately half a year, serving as a foundation for a much larger final game shaped by player feedback. If you enjoy watching things grow while everything tries to kill them and want a change up from your usual go-to houseplant, this one might be for you. Blue Protocol's second season starts on January 15th, with a new narrative that gets a lot darker than before. With new regions also come new bosses and challenges, like the roguelike dungeon system and a new sigil mechanic that lets you slot special monster effects into your gear. So builds can get a lot more flexible and gearing finally a lot more interesting. Even your home base gets some attention with easier crafting and AFK gathering. And for long-term or returning players who want to bring someone new along, there will also be a mentoring system to support their little fledgling. The developers of Once Human have laid out their content plans for 2026, and they mostly revolve around making the world bigger, stranger, and harder to survive. And although some of the zones look like perfect holiday getaways, we would strongly advise against it. These larger, story-driven zones are everything but relaxing, with tons of new monsters and areas, where enemies even merge into the environment itself, creating large-scale encounters designed for group fights. On top of that, the game is also coming to consoles with full crossplay support. And in that regard, we just hope they rework the new player experience, because when we last played it, that was quite something. You might remember our last newsflash about inZoi and how the president of South Korea told the developer that this game needed multiplayer. Yep, and now we even got the confirmation that this will be a thing, plus a rough roadmap of features. It's planned for this year, and they are working on cool things like dedicated multiplayer servers. So inZoi could really become what we had always hoped for. A life sim where you don't meet NPCs on the streets, but hundreds or even thousands of other players who live in the same digital town. Kinda cool if you ask us. But that's all for this week. We wish you a ton of fun in co-op with your favorite people, and we will see you again in the next one.